Where's your Christmas spirit?
Welcome back to Bad Movies Rule. And we're doing this episode for the kids, for every little boy that opened a present on Christmas morning and found clothes. This one's for you. Jingle all the way. What is the age? What's the age when it shifts from being upset you got clothes to being kind of okay with it? Because I remember vividly
40.
I remember being at like my grandma and grandpa's house like Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'd get a present from an aunt or an uncle or somebody and you know, I was a little kid and you open it up and it's clothes and I was so disappointed every time. But then you get to an age where it's like, oh, cool, like this is nice.
Last year I got a pair of socks and my wife got me a pair of socks with my daughter's face all over them.
And were you happy about that?
I was excited
Okay.
for socks.
I would never put my feet in the ground.
And they're fantastic. I wear them as dress socks.
All right, so then it's less than 42.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever gotten curtains before?
Curtains? For Christmas?
For Christmas from your wife.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a...
You got curtains for Christmas?
All right, so it's above 33. We're honing in. We're honing in.
17 maybe.
The curtains aren't really closed, though.
I guess not.
I
don't know,
one
but-
Von Trapp family who will disagree.
Fair enough. Well, look, guys, we're happy that you're here with us this morning. We are doing our first Christmas movie ever for Bad Movies Rule, and it's that time of year. So we had a plethora of bad Christmas movies to pick from. So
This is the greatest Christmas movie of all time. So we should just end the show.
Don't get it twisted. When I say bad, I don't mean bad. I love this movie.
What was that one movie that people watch every year that's supposed to be great, but it actually sucks? Christmas Story. Yeah, that movie.
That
shut your
does
mouth.
not suck.
Shut your dirty mouth.
I can hear the sound of people turning off the podcast. Shush.
Right now, we just lost all
You are
4
gonna
of our
get
listeners.
hate mail.
Good. Send it to me.
If you got any
man.
hate mail.
We went from 4 to 3 subscribers, right just then and there.
Good. Keep dropping. See if I care.
No, it's all good.
Showstrash@gmail.com.
That's right. If you'd like to send Bob some hate mail, you can reach the show at thisshowIstrash@gmail.com, and we'd love to hear your defense of A Christmas Story.
Where's my phone? I'm going to write him a hate mail right now.
This movie is, well, we're doing Jingle All the Way, as we said in the intro, and
Is it Jingle All the Way or Jingle All the Way?
Jingle All the Way.
Okay, I'm just checking.
No, it's cool. I'm going to introduce the panel now. As you've already heard, we've got Kurt Mummer with us this morning. Kurt, how are you, sir?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
What do you want for Christmas this year?
That's a good question. I've been
Socks?
No, actually, I've been looking at the Eagle 5 Lego set.
Okay.
It's a not exactly owned by Lego, but
Spaceballs.
I want it. Yeah, Spaceballs. Yeah.
They had submitted, because I'm a big Lego nerd, they had submitted that through Lego Ideas and it didn't get through the process.
Yeah.
So now they got to do the non-legitimate
Yeah, the mock
one.
block.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. Bob Hauser also joins us. Bob,
How you doing?
how are you, sir?
I'm good.
First time since Broken Arrow.
Yes.
Getting a lot of feedback from that episode. A lot of people liked that movie way more than I thought they did.
I told you.
So you were right. I'll tell you that. What do you want for Christmas this year, Mr. Hauser?
Not curtains. Maybe some cocaine or pre-workout.
Oh, every time. Look, this has got to be a new record. 4 minutes, 30 seconds in. So I don't know how much you've heard, but this is his running gag that he works this into every episode, that either the people in the movie are acting the way they are because it's the 80s and they're ripped on coke, or because
I was trying to figure out how to introduce that in this movie. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't really introduce cocaine or pre-workout in a kid's movie. So you gave me a perfect opening when
just-
you asked me what I wanted for Christmas.
all right, load Bob up with pre-workout because I don't buy him anything else. No illicit drugs, please. We don't endorse that.
Yeah, we're just joking.
Speaking of things we do endorse, having Nicole Freer on the show as often as possible, but this is your first time back since The Fifth Element.
Fifth Element.
Welcome back, Nicole.
Thank you.
What would you like for Christmas?
I would like 2 kinds of lessons, actually.
Oh.
I would like archery lessons, and I would like Cirque du Soleil lessons. But I'm not graceful, so
I feel like Is there such a thing as Cirque du Soleil lessons?
Yeah, like
that you just take like a learning annex course and then you can be in the show?
There's like a place I think in Evanston where you can like
Really?
hang from various hoops hanging from the ceiling.
That's actually awesome.
Flip around and then
So you're not
fall
just
on
being
your head.
funny. That's a real thing.
It was a thing.
Wow. And why archery?
Because I like to arch. Is that a verb?
No, I think it is.
No, I got a bow last year for Christmas. That's what I wanted. And then I didn't know how to string it. And then I just figured I'd wait a year till someone taught me how to use it.
Okay, fair enough.
And that's how that's going.
We'll just keep stacking these gifts
Right.
every year until you can use it. Be great.
Right. It would be Katniss Everdeen.
And then beaming all the way in from Omaha, Nebraska, we've got Brady Cox with us. How are you, Brady? What do you want for Christmas?
I'm well, and it's a deep hole with water. That's not what I want, but I don't really know. Maybe retirement money.
Okay.
Can I ask for that?
Yeah, in lieu of gifts, please fund his 401k. That'd be great for Brady. We'll add his Venmo to the show notes if you want to send him any money over there. We appreciate it. Well, thanks for coming in, guys. I'm excited because Christmas is my favorite time of year, and now we get to talk about a Christmas movie. Let's get some of these vitals out of the way. Let's get all the details of this movie.
Let's do it. Come on.
All right. This movie was directed by Brian Levant. Have any of you ever heard of Brian Levant before?
That's a negative.
Just today.
That's a negative.
Yeah, he directed Jingle all the way.
Okay. Thank you. This is why we have Bob on here as often as possible.
So helpful.
That pre-workout's kicking in.
Bob, this guy directed Problem Child 2,
Ooh.
the Beethoven, the Flintstones,
Yes.
Viva Rock Vegas,
Oh, the second one?
and the Scooby-Doo movies, but like the crummy sequels, not the first
not
one
the
that they
first
did.
two?
No. Like the straight to video ones.
When someone else
Yeah.
says, no, sir, I won't do it, they're like, call him up.
Call Brian. Brian is, well, you know what? Here's what we can say to compliment Brian. He's a working director in Hollywood because the guy's just gets work and he does work. And yeah, maybe some of it's not great, but how many people can say they're a working director that's, getting stuff done?
Have a list of great cartoons on my...
Certainly.
My
And
resume.
there's been enough directors that we've talked about on the show where this was the last movie they ever directed is the one that we're talking about, right? Yeah. So the fact that he kept working after this, good for him.
Absolutely.
Movie was written by Randy Cornfield, who the only movie he ever wrote after this was, it's his name for real,
That's awesome.
was Eight-Legged Freaks. Did any of you ever see that
Yeah,
movie?
it's a David Arquette classic.
That's right. Yeah, kind of one of those B movies, but on purpose, kind of cheesy movies.
Of course, Bob would know that movie.
And
Is that on the list somewhere? Should be.
it probably should be. I only saw it once. I enjoyed it.
It was fun.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Same.
David Arquette.
I don't like spiders.
The movie start.
No.
No, well then don't watch this.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
I didn't sleep for weeks after arachnophobia.
oh gosh, don't watch this movie then.
What's on your shoulder there?
That's not funny.
His drink's going to end up on me.
So serious when he's. This movie starred Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sinbad, Phil Hartman, Rita Wilson, and Jake Lloyd.
And many, many more. That we...
Robert
Oh,
Conrad.
Robert Conrad was in this. Lots of great
Belushi.
little bit players. Yeah, lots of great side characters. And we'll go
Big
through all
Show.
that. We'll go through all
Yes,
of that.
the
Yeah.
Big Show.
The Big Show. Can't forget him in his first movie appearance ever. Because right after this, he did Big Daddy a couple of years later
Yes.
when he was Captain Insano.
Yes.
Right?
Waterboy, Captain.
Well, that was Waterboy's Captain
Waterboy.
Insano.
So,
Yeah, thank you.
Correct
You're right.
you on the podcast.
No. Please feel free to correct me. Again, the name of our email address is thisshowis trash@gmail.com. This movie had a $75 million budget.
Yikes.
How is that possible? Because it's just him running around Minneapolis.
That went all to the booster costume and the Turbo Man costume.
How much do you think Schwarzenegger got paid to do this movie?
$20 million.
I would say a couple million.
I think it's closer to what Kurt said.
You serious? They
yeah.
gave him the quarter. Oh, what?
This is mid-90s Schwarzenegger.
Oh, that's right. He still has the Midas
Hot
touch.
commodity.
Yes, this is coming off of T2 and True Lies. I mean, he'd had a bit of a bomb with Last Action Hero by this point, but he's still
What do you think his
peak
decision
Arnold.
What do you think his decision process was when he saw the script come across his desk? Do I want to do a Christmas movie or do I want to do Last Action Hero 2?
Yeah, well, he loves to dip his toe into comedy once in a while. He
does.
played a pregnant man like a year after this.
That movie doesn't exist.
Junior.
No, it's 2 years after
That movie
this.
doesn't exist.
Junior. Yeah.
That movie doesn't exist.
Twins was great.
Twins was fantastic.
The movie made money. Okay, so $75 million budget. It made $130 million at the box office, so it wasn't a flop. But here's where this is why it qualifies as a bad movie. Even though, Bob, before you jump over the table, I don't think it's bad. It's currently sitting at a 5.6 on IMDb and 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. And the audience score is still only 38%, which is also pretty low. So not well loved by people for the most part.
No, it's definitely a cult classic.
But you know what we're going to do today? We are going to change people's minds right here on this show.
I can't wait.
Only
From Nicole's face,
Only
she's
Nicole
like,
can do it.
You might maybe two people, but not three.
Nicole can do this. You love this movie.
Yeah, let's get your overall impression of
You
the
loved
movie.
it.
I will preface it by saying I watched this with my two boys who are 7 and 10, and halfway through they asked if they could go if it wouldn't hurt my feelings.
Oh no!
What?
Yeah, I was like, let's sit around. We're gonna watch this. So we're gonna, get the tree up pretty soon.
Sure.
And it was just getting too frustrating. You know how?
Yeah.
Like on Seinfeld, like the TV show would just keep getting more frustrating and frustrating, and it would just keep going up higher and higher until it topples over, and the end is fun.
Right.
It was just too much stacking of frustration in a row, I think.
Without an emotional catharsis.
Right, that
like
just
a
needed to put a
moment.
pinhole in it, I think, for a little bit. And there was no pinhole in the frustration, I think.
No.
So for them, it wasn't as much fun.
Okay.
Maybe 10 years ago, if different expectations of what movies,
Yeah. Certainly.
how they run, I don't know.
Well, did you want to leave at the same time they did?
I fast forwarded a little.
I appreciate your honesty.
I haven't seen you in 15 years.
Do it.
This is how you do it.
Bob takes everything so personally.
I don't.
It's like it was his movie.
It was not.
When it comes to Schwarzenegger, Stallone, and
Right.
Van Damme.
And apparently Broken Arrow, Bob gets very testy if you don't also love it.
Got it.
Bob,
I've never seen that movie.
dare I ask? You haven't seen Broken Arrow
No.
yet? Well,
Also,
go see it.
I also haven't seen
Well,
I'm sorry, I haven't seen you in 10 years. I forgot. I don't
That's
know how
all
to count. I went to Antioch.
Right.
Hey, you went to Antioch too, Brady, didn't you?
yes, we all went to Antioch,
Yeah.
Illinois, except, well, we didn't. You didn't
I did
because
not.
you were in Pennsylvania.
Nicole.
It's true. I grew up in
Yes.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
That's right.
God, that's awesome.
Shout out to the people out there in
Shout
Pittsburgh.
out. That's right.
Shout out to the pit.
All right, Bob, I don't even have to ask, but what are your general impressions of the movie?
Awesome.
All right.
Good story.
This is the kind of thought-provoking commentary we love. I know you love it. What is it about it you love, though?
I don't know. I can't explain it. It's just it's a father-son story.
Okay.
And it's just got good elements of comedy, good old-fashioned funny humor. And you have Sinbad in the mix, so it can't be too bad.
That's what puts it over the top for you.
Yes, absolutely. Sinbad.
Some would see his inclusion as a detriment.
No, Sinbad is awesome. Why that guy didn't get more movies, I don't understand.
I thought you were about to say why he didn't get nominated is beyond me.
No,
I thought we're about
why
to
didn't he get
about
more
to veer off here.
mainstream movies? I know he did a bunch of Disney straight-to-video
Yeah.
movies after that, but
He did.
no, it's a good movie. I enjoy it.
All right, Kurt, was this the first time you'd ever seen it?
No.
All right, well then give it to me. What did you think of it?
So here's my thing with this.
Yeah.
It is one of my classic movies that I put into my rotation. So the way that I set up the advent calendar in our house,
Yeah.
we watch one Christmas movie a day until Christmas. Usually, and I even go further. I go into right after Thanksgiving.
So for a movie to make it into your rotation, it's got to be a top 40
It's got to be at least.
because you got about 40 days and then you're doing it.
So, I mean, that's one of the ones that I watch. But I watch some classics too. I watch It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay.
I also enjoy Christmas Story, as Bob mentioned earlier. It's one of my staples for Christmas movies.
You know, last year was the first time I'd ever seen It's a Wonderful Life in my entire life.
It's a good movie.
What's your go-to?
Christmas Story.
Yeah, thank you.
I've been to the replica house.
Oh, that's right.
nice.
I knew that.
I've hidden under the fake the sink and been like, Daddy's gonna kill Ralphie. It's amazing.
All right, but you love the movie
Love the movie.
because it's in your rotation.
It is. I love the movie from a standpoint of I thought it was funny to have Arnold in it. You know, that made it to me what made it how do I want to say that? That's what made it a good movie for me.
Okay, so had it been, Charlie Sheen or something.
Yeah,
right,
I probably
maybe it
wouldn't,
been-
I wouldn't have cared. But the fact that I was an Arnold fan as a kid and,
Yeah.
kind of like you said, riding on that high, coming off a T2 and,
Yeah.
I was at a pinnacle point of his career. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'll give it that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it was funny enough that as a kid watching it, it was entertaining.
Yeah.
But it was also, I kind of liked where Bob was going with it. I felt I get what he's saying by a father-son story.
Yeah.
You know, there's a little heart-touching moments there between him and his kid.
I guess if you buy the chemistry between the two of them as father and son, which
you got to buy into it.
We'll discuss.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's that whole movie. I mean,
certainly. Brady, was this, you had seen this movie before, right?
You know, as I was watching it, I realized that it's been on in the background a lot, but I've never actually sat down to watch the whole thing.
So then what was your impression when you watched it?
If I'm going to be nice, this is my least favorite Jake Lloyd movie.
Okay, so when you have to rank this and The Phantom Menace, you're saying this is second.
Yes.
Well, I will agree that he gave a better performance as Darth Vader,
I don't know about
Vader,
that, but
than he did as Jamie. What's the last name?
Langston.
Jamie Langston. I don't know. We'll see. I have actually some questions about Jake Lloyd's performance that we're gonna get into it. I'm excited to talk about it. For me, I saw this movie in the theater. Okay, I remember I was with my mom. And we went and saw this, and I was a huge Arnold fan, so I don't know if my opinion is valid because I'm like, Arnold's in it, it's good. That's like always kind of been my opinion about everything that he's in. I especially like comedies where he plays, I mean, part of why his comedies are funny, like Kindergarten Cop and Twins and this movie, is because you already have the comedy that can come from him playing against type, right? Against like action hero, meathead, robotic assassin thing, right? And so just him running around doing dad stuff already brings it up to like a certain level of funny. And so from there, you're already operating from like a net positive. Anything else above that is good for me personally. But you can only mind that, I think, for so much comedy. So, you know.
No, but I see that. It's like more endearing because you're like, wow, he's willing to put himself out there even though he's like known to be this action hero. I get that. I get that.
Yeah, exactly. So I do enjoy the movie. I think that it teeters from cornball to hilarious. I think ultimately it wins more than it loses. So I think it's a good movie personally. That's my personal opinion. But we're gonna dig in, and I'm specifically happy that you're here because I've got some questions, Nicole, for you as we go through this because I think we can draw from your experience.
Oh, great!
to really dig into this. So the first thing I want to do, and I don't know if anybody else is interested even remotely in this, because the movie starts off, you're watching an episode of Turbo Man, okay? And what is the show that kind of immediately comes to mind when you watch
Power Rangers?
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Right,
Yeah.
100%, right?
yeah.
And if you guys ever gotten into the weeds on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, like just like the lore and the background,
Yes.
No.
and it's like totally convoluted nonsense.
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
All right. So it got me thinking, I wonder how deep into the lore they got with this Turbo Man stuff. I want to get in the weeds on Turbo Man. Who is this guy?
Sure.
Is this on Earth? I mean, the president's there, right?
Oh God, yes.
But if it's
president with his 40-year younger wife.
right, that was Lorraine Newman from the original SNL cast, by the way, playing the little cameo from Lorraine Newman.
Yes.
And she's awesome.
Corman, right?
What's that?
Corman was who was the president?
Oh,
He was from.
He was somebody.
Why can I not think?
Because when I looked up the cast on IMDb,
Harvey
I saw
Korman,
I saw his
that's what I
picture.
thought.
Carol Burnett show.
Yeah. And
Thank you, Carol Burnett show.
but I want to know like the backstory of the Demon Team. Why are they called the Demon Team?
When they look like a bunch of Christmas lights.
Tell me, yes, Bob. Why do these Christmas ornament looking dudes? Why are they called the Demon Team? Let's get into it.
Because it sort of off rhymes. That's all.
Maybe this is a
It doesn't, though.
Maybe this is a factor of
why are they demons?
LSD. Maybe in the screenplay.
All right.
They come from the hoary netherworld.
What about Booster? Is he an alien? If this takes place on Earth.
It's with Thundercat and Battlecat had a baby.
Wow.
But
I was gonna say Battlecat and Snagglepuss. To heavens to Murgatroyd.
Yeah,
Exit stage right even.
I started watching it and I just had this urge inside. I was just like, I just want to. No one will ever be able to because I don't think they ever wrote it beyond what's on the screen.
I think you could write it and sell ones of copy.
But why was
Ones of copy.
Yeah.
why was Booster wearing a G-string?
Yeah, he also had kind of like a banana hammock thing
Yeah,
going
he had
on.
the golden.
The golden
How'd that make
banana.
you?
It's like
How'd
a
that make you
golden.
feel?
Yeah.
I did not notice.
See,
Damn it! Am I the only one that noticed?
I guess me and you were the one noticing. What does that say about us? Is really the bigger implication.
So what's the next thing you want to talk about?
I just
If we're
want to
going to
know
talk about
what's that.
if we're going to talk about Booster,
Yeah.
let's talk about how that's Booger from Revenge of the Nerds.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was that again. Lots of little cameos in this. I love that guy. I thought he played it really great. Why does nobody like Booster?
Because he's hot pink. I don't know.
I know that my 7-year-old came in during the part near the end when they were kicking him, and he's like, "Why are they kicking him?" Like walk back out, like, "Mom, you're watching a crazy movie."
Right, but every time they even bring him up, there was like, "We don't want it."
Yeah.
But that's the joke that they've created. It's like an inside joke.
I think you're always supposed to hate the sidekick.
But no one ever hate Robin.
And they have like,
No, but everybody hated. Well,
there's
let's
1,000.
not say that anyone hated Robin. There's lots of people that hated Robin, but I will also say people hated Snarf. People hated Orko. People from the '80s. So
Who did you hate
they're,
Orko?
They're paying on that. Well, I love Orko.
I love
but
Orko. Shout out to
playing on
Do you
Orko.
guys remember though, like after Christmas, you'd go into the toy stores and there was like this huge bin full of one character that nobody wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I think that's the joke.
That's the joke there.
Yeah.
I always feel bad for
Yeah.
Booster.
I'm
Booster
over it.
seems like a lovable.
He deserves
guy.
it.
All right, that's fine.
He's fine now.
But he's got to be an alien. That's the thing I don't
He's
understand.
probably retired somewhere.
Yeah.
He's got good dentures though. I'll give him that.
All right, so we
Good dental plan.
The teeth on that thing.
after meeting Turbo Man and the Mighty the Demon Team. We'll call them the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
We meet Howard Langston, and Howard works.
At a
Is he the
mattress store?
owner of the mattress store?
That's
the
what I took as
manager?
it. I thought it was his business.
I think the script just says high-powered exec. most
High-powered
likely.
exec.
They don't
At a
care.
furniture store.
How busy is a mattress store the day before Christmas Eve?
You'd be surprised.
I should ask you because you work at a furniture store.
Oh.
Is that
Is it
reasonable that he's literally the phone is ringing off the hook? People got to have these mattresses.
I guess at that time, yes, but usually we're always busy, so I can't really.
Maybe
Well,
he's
I would-
selling to mattress stores.
I mean, if he's
Yeah.
privately owned, like a locally owned business, I could see, he's probably busy up until the end, like right up until he
Yeah.
has to leave. But like if you're like a franchise like we are, I guess I would say it's a little different.
I just don't understand how he can't pry himself. I mean, there are little mattress stores that run with no one there.
yeah,
That's like how it works now.
Yeah.
right? And he can't pry himself away from the mattress store.
Not in 1996.
I was just gonna say it's 1996.
I mean,
guess.
they had payphones everywhere still.
Amazon was not created yet.
Did you guys notice when he was signing those letters, he signed Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes.
You guys both noticed that?
I
Yes.
did.
No.
Right away.
I've seen, this movie has been on for the
Yeah.
last 2 weeks every single day.
Yeah,
my
he
kids
just-
love this movie.
Your kids love the movie.
Yeah,
How old
they
are your
will.
kids? I know, but just for the people at home.
My daughter is going to be 8 in December, so a couple weeks, and my son's going to be 5 in March.
Okay.
See how much joy it brings you, though. I'm sure.
I'm sure that
Absolutely.
has something to
My
do with
wife
it. When dad's
hates
into
this
it.
movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
My
okay.
wife hates this movie.
Oh,
It's
great.
on all the time. So she's the one-
Affirmation.
she has to sit there and watch it with them. I'm at work, so
Yeah.
I'm like, Turbo Man's on at 6:30 in the morning.
Right. She probably wants to shoot Turbo Man out of cannon.
She wants to,
I got you.
turn.
Dad, Mommy, it's turbo time. It's not turbo time. Go to bed.
That can be taken.
Do you ever? You gonna dress up? Can you dress up, Bob? I need you to dress up on Christmas one morning and just come out and do the. It's turbo time.
It's Turbo time.
Come on, your kids will go crazy.
Oh, God.
All right, so another funny little quirk from this, and she calls. So the wife calls him at work, right? And her first question is, "Where are you?"
Yeah, what kind of marriage is this?
You literally called him at work.
I think it's figurative. Like, why aren't you here?
I know.
But
Where are you?
Where are you?
Is that
Are
how
you
you
just
talk?
pointing out?
Is that how you would talk to your husband, though?
No, but I have a different relationship, I think, than they probably do.
No.
Yeah.
Rita Wilson. We can talk about this now. Rita Wilson, Mrs. Tom Hanks.
That's Tom Hanks' wife?
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
No clue.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
they've been married for a long time.
Since
Wow.
88.
One of the few successful Hollywood marriages out there.
Good for them.
What did you think of the chemistry between Arnold and Rita Wilson?
Made no sense.
None at all?
No. Well, I think it's funny at the very end when she sees him in the outfit. No spoilers, sorry. She was like, oh, like, probably who he is. You're like surprised now.
Oh,
surprised
Howie.
that I gotta imagine that when he has his shirt off, he looks better than he does with the Turbo Man costume on. He's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It is the cod piece on the Turbo Man outfit.
Oh, Bob.
It's red, man.
It's all right. Here's what I
The
want.
show is trash at gmail.com.
I felt zero. Not only do I feel zero. Start over. Not only do I feel like there was zero chemistry between them, it felt painfully awkward when they would have almost any interaction, and like I felt like physical revulsion from her when they would like kiss or do anything. Was I just imagining that?
Maybe she was held captive against her will.
Tell me what you think, Nicole.
No, I just literally was like, I don't get it. And that was as deep as I got because I was like, please, let's fast forward a little bit.
Yeah, because I feel like, I don't know if she, I haven't heard anything or she's never come out and said she had a bad experience, but I feel like it's palpable when you watch the movie. That's just me. What did you guys think?
I just think it's supposed to be an exaggeration. I mean, the whole movie is one exaggeration as next to the, next and next and next.
Yeah.
Each time it gets a little bit more kind of crazy. So I think it's just to show.
Did you buy that marriage at all between the two actors?
Not really.
No.
But maybe when I first watched it, I mean, we were what? 16, 17 when the movie came out?
Yeah,
It's just, we all get to see her wince, like with him a little bit, but then more with Phil Hartman. So the whole time I'm just like uncomfortable for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
God bless Phil Hartman. I love him in this movie.
Phil Hartman's great in this movie.
Yes.
When he finally gets home, our introduction, well, I shouldn't say, the introduction to Ted is at the karate show where we see these housewives are like one after another.
Baked you some cookies.
Right? Or saying like, I know what a handyman you are and could you please come over?
I couldn't tell if it was all like, if they were saying what they weren't saying or if...
I think they were saying what they weren't saying. Well, especially the second lady.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was like, you need the right tool for the job.
He's like, I've got the right tool for the, and it's just the way they were talking.
Yeah.
Looked like,
there's definitely some innuendos there.
Yes. So I don't know how, I mean, apparently he's a well sought after commodity within this neighborhood. And then he's also trying to go after Howard's wife in the movie.
Yeah.
He's basically this divorced single dad that lives in this neighborhood with either of these other single or non-single mothers. And he's, going around town.
He's the
so to
floozy.
speak. He's the floozy. He's the town floozy.
Yeah.
And Howard's wife is the next Mark, essentially.
Yes. Well, yeah, like he technically, like, she's the one to get. Is
Right.
how I took it.
Because she's the only one that appears to not want him.
Right.
Right?
Right. Well,
Yeah.
him or Arnold, where are you going?
So I don't want to miss this because this starts a kind of a comedy through line, through the movie is the first interaction he has with the police officers when he's on his way to the karate show. And
Brady, what are you doing?
It's
a cat.
Oh. I just see this thing in the screen. What's up, cat?
It's okay.
All right, back to the
I can
movie.
get cut. It's fine.
When he's on his way to the karate show and he's late, so he pulls onto the shoulder, the cop pulls him over, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, totally fine.
Yeah.
But I think the guy was being kind of excessive, don't you, to like make him do a sobriety test just because he said I'm like running late to my kid's karate
I
class?
think he was taking it personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this
He was abusing his power.
absolutely. And so this sets up this kind of
Running gag throughout the movie
where these two are constantly running into each
Which
other.
was pretty humorous, I feel.
Yeah. Oh, it worked out fine.
Well done.
I do think it's funny that, at the end of the sobriety test, he says, "Can I go now?" And he's like, "No, recite the alphabet. A, B, C." He's like, "No, backwards." And Arnold just stares at him, and I'm like, I think it's funny that Arnold was late to the karate class because of the alphabet.
I forget to get that excuse. I should use that more often.
It's just like, I bet that took him 4 hours.
It was pretty dark when he
to
pulled
do
up.
the alphabet backwards.
And then with his thick accent, I'm sure.
Right. He can barely say the alphabet forwards
Right.
in under 15 minutes, would be my guess.
That's probably
So
a record.
when he said backwards, I'm like, well, this is over.
Yeah. Done.
There's
Just play the credits.
There's no way. Play the credits. So he gets back to his house, and Ted is shooting his shot, right? He's literally putting up Christmas lights on another man's house.
Sure.
How did you feel about that? What if you guys came home and there was another dude putting up Christmas lights on your house?
I would take the latter. I need this for a second. Excuse me. It's like 9 o'clock tonight. Can you get down yet?
You don't mow another guy's lawn.
Or staple lights to another guy's roof?
Yeah, that too.
Got it.
You don't plow another driveway.
You guys today, I don't know what it is today.
Plow my driveway. That's fine.
What? Wait, go ahead. What's that, Brady?
My neighbors can plow my driveway. I'm cool with that.
He's not threatened.
There you go.
It's efficient.
It's efficient.
It's a certain. I don't know. I take pride in plowing my driveway.
So what was the next thing?
Howard gets inside and he has to have this difficult conversation with his son, right? He says, he starts to give the excuse about the speeding ticket. She's like, well, it's not my karate class. You must go talk to your son. And he's trying to explain it to him. And eventually he promises him that he's going to get him this Turbo Man doll.
Right. Which
Christmas.
starts pretty much the theme of the movie.
It's the kickoff of the plot.
Right.
First of all, this kid's room is incredible.
I was just going to say, that is incredible.
It's like this giant mural of Captain America. He's got X-Men bed sheets and pillows.
Oh, yeah.
He's got Wolverine in there. And this is like before any of that was considered mainstream and cool. This dude had it all up in his room. I'm like, this kid, if he's going to whine and complain about not getting one doll, he's got like the best setup of all time, which to me immediately made me not like him. And so I guess
You could pity him because his dad is becoming wealthy because he's so busy and he keeps giving him items instead of affection.
That's true. But I think this is a good time as any, Nicole, to talk about Jake Lloyd's performance as Jamie Langston. And I guess, first question is, do you think it worked? I mean, what did you think of Jake Lloyd's performance, you guys?
Not bad.
Really?
He's that.
As far as being a child,
Yeah.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, he was believable as a child.
Really? Wow. I couldn't stand his performance.
No, I think his performance was horrible, but it was obvious that he was a child.
Right, but we've seen lots of child actors, and I know it's difficult, right? And maybe it's because there's so many out there now that are so amazing, but I don't believe a word he says. It just seems so over the top,
They
right?
couldn't get Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
I mean,
Yes.
I don't know that Schwarzenegger was doing Oscar-worthy,
No.
work next to him either, but I just was like, he's doing well for a kid. I mean, Haley Joel Osment wasn't born yet, pretty much. So
I mean, it is difficult. Well, your own kids have done acting work, right?
Yeah.
And so, as someone who has seen a child actor go through a process, I mean, it's got to be really hard for somebody that age, because I'm assuming he's probably pretty close to the age of your son,
Right.
Your oldest,
Yeah.
at the time that he made this.
Yeah.
What's been? Does he find it really easy? Does he find it really difficult? I mean, how does he manage?
Well, one thing that in this movie, he was through it for a lot of scenes and a lot of dialogue. Well, I guess not terribly, but he had a lot. And so one thing I will give him is he was consistent. So he delivered a performance where he didn't waver and seem like a different person or forget that he was being the kid who was in the script. So that's what I liked about it, is he was just consistent with it.
Okay.
He didn't pluck out my heartstrings, but I did like the way that he was really being sassy in his room. Like, no, don't talk to me. You made me a promise. I was like, that's good. He did a good job with that one.
Yeah.
It's
All
hard.
right.
It's hard at that age.
I'll admit that I'm wrong if everybody else feels differently. Maybe I'm being too harsh on him, or maybe I'm letting his performance in the Star Wars movie color my opinion.
I would say that would be more accurate, because I feel you on that one.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of him in any of those first. Well, what was he in the first two?
Just the first one.
Oh, okay.
Just the first one.
So,
But yeah, in some, he didn't. It wasn't a noteworthy performance, but I wasn't like, it's because of him. It just was a fine. He did fine.
I just think Arnold struggled to connect with all of them. Like
Sure.
his wife, his kid. I like that to me, the best parts of the movie are when he's running around frustrated, by himself, and or even with Sinbad. I thought they had good chemistry, the two of them together. But any of the family stuff doesn't really work.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. Brady, what did you feel about him just with his family and the chemistry and all that?
I'm with you 100%. It just wasn't, it didn't feel right. It felt like you were watching like community theater.
Okay.
Not when you're doing it, but
nice.
Thanks.
Like, when
ringing endorsement.
You know what I'm talking about, though. It's just like when the
yes,
they're focused too hard on like themselves, and they're not spending time to connect with the other actors.
When Arnold's able to play into some of his the things that he's done more in the past, like his action-y stuff, which when he's, body slamming people to get a toy, I mean, like he's able to play frustrated, angry, all that stuff really, really well. The scenes where I thought he really was kind of hung out to dry was like the scene that followed right after this in the bedroom with his wife when she's, washing her face and he's having like a husband-wife conversation about how they were bonding and you should have seen us in there and it was great. And she's like, oh, don't, you got the doll, didn't you? And he's like, oh, of course I got the doll, right? I mean, it's just really
It's like
bad.
he overplayed it. Yeah.
That was terrible. I mean, I don't want you to think I'm like, no, that's great.
No, it's not. It's not good. Although I did like his line of dialogue, you thought for a minute that I would not do something that you tell me, which is like, yeah, me too, buddy.
And also, we've gotten to this, I think, for the Fifth Element discussion we had, but I think some of them are doing what the director said to do.
Sure.
And of course, we don't know that because we're not there, but I'm sure pretty much he was like, perfect, Arnold, that was glorious, move along.
No, you're right. There is a certain trust you place in the director's hands to not make you look like a fool, right? Mm-hmm. And so we can't look at Brian's, body of work and say that he's got a deft touch, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fair. That's a great observation.
I mean, he did Flintstones.
Yeah, but that was as over the top as but that you got to. It's a cartoon.
I know.
I'm not bragging on that. I liked the live action Flintstones.
I did too. The first one?
Yeah.
Second one wasn't bad either, but I like the first one more.
No, I agree. All right, so the plot gets kicked into action here. Now it's Christmas Eve, right?
Yes, sir.
Ted is outside his house. He literally's like, "What? I gotta get out. I left the doll at the office." Did anybody else bother that they keep calling it a doll? I hated that they kept calling it a doll. It's an action figure.
I mean, if he wanted to call it that, that's fine because he decided to. But when others were doing it, I'm like, people don't usually do that.
No. Yeah.
Maybe they're just playing the joke really hard to be like, oh, it's a doll. Because then later on, Sinbad's talking about that exact thing to him, and it's like, that was an action figure, he was going on about the whole thing. So
that's true.
I wonder if it was just them what do you want to say? Prefixing up,
maybe
setting up that it's a definite, like this should be called an action figure.
Maybe.
Because then by the end they were talking action figure.
Right.
So I
think
feel
they
like
could handle that better.
I agree. I do like the way they kicked it off. He walks out of the house and there's Ted. There's Phil Hartman there with a freaking reindeer.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's nothing you can do to make a child's Christmas too magical, right? And this whole, I'm like, bleh. It's like,
but he's playing Phil Hartman so greatly.
He crushed it. We can talk about Phil for a minute. He was reading for Myron when he first came onto the movie, like Sinbad's character. And there was something off about the way he read. And then they tried him in this one and it was pitch perfect. I mean, it's like this role was made for Phil Hartman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
With just the way he delivers that speech, right?
Even the part when he talks about, well, what are you going to do when you're done with it? And he's
right.
Like,
well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Watching a set of deer down by the Manitowoc River, it's totally.
If nature's kind, they'll take him in as one of their own.
Yeah. It just made me think of Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy.
Like the guy just has thought of everything, right? He's that perfect guy that, Arnold does not have his life together. He doesn't have time for his family. He's a workaholic. This guy has time to get a reindeer for his son, to bake cookies, to
go out and get the Turbo Man out.
Months ago. I mean, he's everything Arnold's not. And that's not necessarily a good thing, we find out later, right? But it's more of a facade. But that's kind of what I think is the driving frustration for Arnold
No,
with
absolutely.
Ted, right?
Well, and it's like it's planted, and then obviously later on, when he flips on the phone,
Yeah.
and he's the whole line of you put my cookie down,
Yeah, pipe down in there.
yeah, and then he just snaps when
Right.
he finally gets into his house.
Yeah, that's kind of the first crack in the facade there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bob, it's getting pretty icy out there. You might want to wrap some tires around the. Oh wait, I got to do that over. Wrap some tires around those chains.
Yes.
Yeah, Bob. Bob, it's getting a little icy out there. You might want to wrap some chains around those tires.
Wrap some chains around you.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
There's lots of great lines in this movie.
Oh,
Yes. No, absolutely. It's quotable.
Yeah.
Sinbad definitely has the greatest line.
Oh yeah, when he's about to show up, because he takes off and goes to we'll call it toy store number 1 of many toy stores that are visited, and this is where we meet Sinbad. What'd you think of his performance, Bob?
A++.
He's basically just doing stand-up comedy.
Yeah, he's Sinbad with the volume turned way up.
Right? I kind of like, Brady, did you ever see Lethal Weapon 4?
What's the plot of that one?
Exactly. It's the one with Jet Li and Chris Rock came in as like the guy that was getting married to Danny Glover's daughter. Okay. Chris Rock in that movie is basically just doing his stand-up routine in every scene that he's in. He's talking about cell phones at one point. Like he just goes into a whole set. Okay. And which is fine. But that's kind of I love Sinbad in this movie. He made me laugh, but that's kind of what he's doing.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, they said a lot of his stuff was improv.
Right.
And they said Arnold actually did pretty well bouncing off of him and reacting properly to him, telling him these crazy things that he's talking about.
Did you like his performance?
I did.
Okay.
But I did not like how I don't know who to attribute it to, but I did not like how they figured out they walked that line of sort of like friends, but then like enemies, but then they were like friends. It wasn't clearly enough to find. Like pick a path that you're on and go with it. But
yeah, and when they would switch, it wasn't really earned.
No, correct.
Right. It was just like we're switching now because we need to for the plot.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. No, I could agree with that. He basically yells through the entire movie. Right. He's like never not yelling. His like volume is always at 10.
Yeah.
But it's great. It's funny. I mean, Bob, what are some of your favorite quotes from that first scene when he's in front of the toy? I know you know him by heart. What are some of them?
Oh, God.
Right? He's like, Dear Santa.
Dear Santa, can you send me a bike and a sticker? No, your father's been laid off. Oh, yeah.
I think that was the one point when my son looked at me like, what? Why does that correlate? And I was like, just keep watching.
It's like he's doing free association at that point, right? Yeah. It's like
it's great.
Goes into the whole thing about suddenly he's talking about how he's got to work 60 hours a week to make an alimony payment to a woman that slept with everybody at the post office but him. Me. Yeah. Poor guy. Poor guy.
No respect.
No respect at all.
So I have a costuming issue.
Yes.
Why doesn't he ever take his hat off? It's a hot
24/7
kind of hat. Keeps
it is
really warm.
Well, they shot this in April too, that's like that's why you see nobody's breath outside, or like the snow which isn't really much you see is all fake because they shot this in April and they're all bundled up. I'm sure they were all dying.
Yeah.
Were they in Minnesota when they shot this?
It was in Minnesota.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe this is when his hair was yellow.
Oh,
just because that's who he was back then.
Oh.
So I think it was more of a
cover up his hair.
Yeah,
because he did say it's either this or the safari hat that he wears in the summer.
Yes.
Has anyone ever seen a post office person in their safari hat?
Yes.
I've never seen. I mean, in pictures I've seen it.
When you've done work on the North Shore, there's mailmen out there with their safari hats on
and their knee-high socks.
Yep, nice. I've seen it. Next time I'm out that way, I'll take a picture for you and send it to you.
Please,
take a selfie with him.
He also carried his mail satchel full of actual mail to deliver throughout the entirety of the state of Minnesota.
Nobody got their mail.
And dumped it numerous times throughout the movie,
so
and
he could
it was
catch
always
up.
full.
Yeah.
He's trying to catch up to Arnold, and he's just dumping mail.
Yeah.
Did that stress you out?
The Jerry Lewis.
Yes.
Kinda.
Right. Every time you pulled one out, I thought, who's that person that's not going to get that letter?
That's like a felony or something.
There's a check in that one, right?
Or like the last letter someone's grandfather wrote to them. Great.
Right.
Christmas letters to Santa.
Like in The Postman, right? When he sits there and he reads that kid's letter to his grandfather. That never made it because of Sinbad and Jingle All the Way.
Thanks, Sinbad.
We just
Nice tie-in.
you heard it here first. The universe of Jingle All the Way and The Postman exist in the same universe.
Wow.
There you go.
There we go.
So are we going to say this is also the prefix to Star Wars?
Sure.
Somehow?
Let's do that. This is he got so mad about Turbo Man that he switched to the dark side of the Force.
And he's just, I'm going to create this Death Star.
That's right.
Long time ago.
A long
Galaxy far,
time.
far away.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So they rush in. They finally get into the toy store. And this is, I think, Bob, where he finally gets to do like an Arnold thing, right? I mean, he goes in. Chris Parnell's got a little cameo in
I
this.
love Chris Parnell. Well, and Forky.
Yeah, and Forky.
Yeah.
And they just laugh right in his face when he asks for a Turbo Man. Have you ever been in that situation where you're looking for something and someone just laughs at you?
I've been in that situation at the Antioch Walmart. They don't laugh at me, but
Okay.
they just look at you for a good few seconds, and I go, "Okay, thanks, man. I'll go this way."
All right.
I've had the laugh.
No.
Okay. I have, or the smirk or the snicker, or so I totally understand his desire to
Did
wring
you
their
throat
necks.
chop that person?
No, but I love he just grabs both of them, and this is he goes into like Terminator mode, right? And he's like, "Where's your Christmas spirit?" I love like those are the moments that work for him in this movie
Yeah.
Absolutely.
because that's right in his
Well,
wheelhouse.
and I love
Lifting
Parnell. I mean,
lifting people,
That laugh.
lifting people. Arnold is the
laugh
best.
fantastic.
If there was an Oscar for lifting people, Arnold wins it every year.
Amazing.
Wait, no, whose laugh? Arnold's laugh?
No, Parnell's.
Oh, it's only the hottest selling toy ever.
Oh, yeah. Like he just right in his face. Just, oh, what an idiot.
Turbo Man's favorite pet tiger booster.
That's right. There's plenty of booster.
Terrible.
Oh man,
Such a mean guy.
That's the one line. Can I tell you this? Every once in a while, there's a line from a movie like with like an Office Space, like yes, do that, do exactly that. That I just have adopted into my lexicon that I use all the time.
Sure.
And the line from this movie is Sinbad's line that he later on, where the guy says, "We've got plenty of booster." He's like, "We don't want it. We don't want it." I say that all the time.
Well, now I'm going to say it too.
That's right. Anytime there's something like, I just go, "We don't want it." All right. But yeah, so I'm happy with Sinbad in this.
So now this came out in 96. So
Yes.
you've had that in your lexicon since
Yes.
we were 18 years old?
Yes, I've been saying it all the time.
Man, that's great.
We don't want it. Ask my kids. They'll tell you it's true. I got to ask you guys a question. At this point, he chases this lady down the street who had it on layaway, doesn't catch up to her. And they have a little fight, a little melee ensues within the store. Have you ever, and it made me think of like Black Friday. Have any of you ever been like on a Black Friday and witnessed like a stampede or a melee or body slamming or any of that stuff?
So one year I went into, I don't know if it was a Walmart or just a store like that, because there was just like one like DVD player or something. We thought, let's just see what this is all about and if it's really craziness. But they would let you in because it was really cold outside. But you had to stand around like a pallet of the thing, which was like wrapped in a lot of
wrapped,
saran.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
And but they said, at a certain time we'll unwrap it and just stay in line. You'll be fine. Well, someone touched the pallet with the saran wrap, and someone else thought they were going to open it, and then there was just a whole lot of like yelling at a screaming kind of timber, and it wasn't cool. And I was like, let's just leave. Thank you. Good day. And
You just took off?
And yes, and
Okay.
we have been able to watch DVDs somehow in our lives without that. But that was our one check. But I was like, this feels like we are in the.
It feels filthy, doesn't it?
It
You're just like,
it
there's
just
an
reminds
angst.
me, in what's the movie with the lion?
Lion
The
King.
Lion King.
Yes.
If you can't see at home, I'm just holding my arms up.
Well,
as
now
if
they can see us on YouTube. There you go.
Hey. But like the stampedes are like coming, and then there's Scar laughing, and I was like, that's gonna happen to me. I got out of there.
You thought Mufasa was going to get killed in that Walmart.
I was
Stampede.
sure of it.
except you were Mufasa.
Yes. Mom Fasa.
Mufasa.
Similar story
ever
for
happened?
me.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was in a Target, and we were exact same thing. We were standing, waiting, and there was a pallet, and it had TVs saran wrapped.
Yeah.
And there was probably 12 TVs saran wrapped, and one guy went over there, and I mean, as soon as he sliced the saran wrap, there was a guy just cranking on the TV trying to get it out of, and you're like, what
Dude.
are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, just calm down. I got to get that. I mean, and he was trying to get it on his cart.
And for
then-
what? They
and
saved
then
like
other
$100
people Yeah.
$100.
The whole thing
And
was
the
just
medical
nuts.
bills are so much higher than that.
But no,
That's crazy, man.
It was pretty nuts.
Bob,
That was the worst I've ever seen.
has that ever happened to you?
Can't say that.
Oh, you're lucky.
I've been to a store on Black Friday and I've never experienced it, but I buy stuff that no one wants.
That's the hack. That's the hack
Just
right
like
there.
the Cheerios in the back.
I went to Black Friday and bought Expendables 2.
Okay.
That was pretty easy for me.
Yeah, because
As
no one
people
else
were
wanted it.
Stabbing people in the face for the pallet of Xboxes. I just walked right up to the full kiosk
I
of
just don't
Expendables.
understand why they can still call the items doorbusters.
Yeah.
Like, why is that a phrase?
It's legitimate because people take someone's
but they
skull
should
and
But that's
bust
not
the door with
something you
it.
want to be like
Come on in for
incentivizing.
the doorbusters at
Yeah.
Macy's.
Oh, it's crazy.
Brady,
Opening at 6.
I can't imagine that you are a big Black Friday shopper, but have you ever seen anything like that happen?
I avoid stores on Black Friday actively.
Yeah.
The last time I was in a store on Black Friday, I was working in said store, and just the people just stampeding on the way in as soon as somebody unlocks the door, and just the antithesis of Christmas
Right.
is basically what Black Friday is.
Yeah. I'll agree with that.
The spirit of taking.
Yes. I mean, in some of those cases, I think maybe they're gifts for other people, but I think a lot of times it's someone that just wants something cheap.
Buy them a few months before Christmas.
No, I know. The only thing that ever happened to me, and my daughter has this thing. She loves to go Black Friday shopping. She's going again this year. She thinks it's fun. Okay. Just like the adrenaline of it.
There's adrenaline, I'm sure.
Yeah, right. I was in a Target with my father-in-law one time, and it's like 4:30 in the morning. I mean, it's like prime Black Friday. Doors just open. The line went from where the register all the way down back and around the square to the back of the store by the electronics. Okay. And we sat in that line forever. And I never moved. At no time did I ever leave the line. All of a sudden, a lady behind me starts screaming at me. He cut in line. He was not here before. Like, just losing her mind that I literally had been there for an hour.
Yeah.
I had been standing in that same spot. And she wanted to fight me because she thought I had cut her in this line at Target.
Did she have a fur coat on? Did you choke her out?
No, I didn't choke her out.
Did you rock bottom her?
No, I didn't do anything. I just turned around. I was like,
you did people's elbow, right?
I turned around. I was just like, I've been here like literally the whole time. And then Mike, who is my father-in-law, was like, grabbed me and turned me around. I was like, just ignore her. And she screamed for maybe another 2 minutes. Everyone else told her to shut up. And then that was the end of it. Right?
Yeah.
But it's just like people get crazy this time of year.
Yeah.
Didn't you and I go get the GameCube on Black Friday?
That wasn't Black Friday. That was just the day the GameCube released. So there was a ton of people outside the store.
I never did that again.
Yeah, I was nuts.
Could I rewind a little bit and just say how much I miss toy stores?
Oh, sure. Those are the best.
Right.
I mean, KB Toys,
I miss
Toy
KB
Works,
Toys.
Yep.
Toys R Us.
Toys R Us.
I mean,
Rest in peace.
I just miss being able to just walk in and there's just everything you want as a toy.
I know.
I miss Cinnabon. That was the best thing in Gurney Mills.
They exist elsewhere, though. They're not gone.
Oh, I know.
Well,
they're not
Gurney
gone.
Mills was like the mall. So we all
Gurney
grew
Mills
up.
was like the
Yeah, we all grew up
mecca
around that area, right?
for the three of us to go to.
And I will tell you, there was one time I made the dumb mistake to go last minute shopping at Gurney Mills on Christmas Eve. And it took me Christmas. For those of you that have never been to Gurney Mills, there's just a giant parking lot with a big circle around it with little outlets off the circle to the different streets. Okay. Would y'all say that's accurate?
Yeah.
It took me, no BS, 2 hours to get from the parking lot to Grand Avenue just to get out of the place. 2 hours.
Right.
And I said,
Never
again.
Yeah.
It's craziness.
He's going next week.
No, I'm not. All right. Anyway, back to the movie.
Were you in the car going, we don't want this? We don't want this.
And that is a callback, ladies and gentlemen.
This poor Salvation Army guy swinging his jaw. James is like, we don't want it.
No, thank God I didn't have kids during like the Tickle Me Elmo thing. Like that was when we were teenagers, and I was like,
Oh, wow.
Didn't that happen right before this movie?
that was like the last big. Well, I think this is more based off the Cabbage Patch thing in the 80s.
No, sure.
Because
but I'm
that
just
happened,
saying,
like-
I mean, that was...
It would have been too soon for the release of this film.
Wasn't He-Man a big Christmas item in the 80s that people would just
There was
beat
never-
the crap
I
out
mean,
of for?
No, it wasn't like that. I mean, it was exciting just because it was basically a toy line
Right.
before
Right.
it became like a TV show.
So there wasn't
there was
really-
more introduction of the toys before there was
Okay.
any sort of. But once the TV show hit, it really drove up their
But Cabbage
sales.
Patch Kids in the 80s were
Yes.
like people would be tackling each other to get. I mean, did you have one when you were a little girl?
No, I actually was not on that bandwagon for some reason.
Okay.
Because of this show, I know what a garbage pail kid is.
There you go.
You're welcome.
Garbage pail kids.
And by the way, there's a tie-in to this movie. Thank you very much.
Is there?
Yes. The little elf, that's what James Belushi played.
Oh, that's right.
Greaser Greg.
He was Greaser Greg in that movie.
Oh, let me get my autograph.
So
You're welcome.
after the montage, so this movie just dives into a montage at this point. He's going to every toy story seemingly in the Twin Cities, can't find anything, and he eventually walks up to a payphone to call home and check in, right? And the phone is answered by Ted at his home because Ted has come into his house. He did the whole, looks like you need a little you time. Why don't you go upstairs, take a shower? No, I know. Sugar cookies, bake 10 to 15 minutes till golden brown, like the whole thing.
Ted's got everything.
That's right. I'm like, oh, I just want to punch this guy in every scene that he's in. But imagine calling home and Ted answers the phone, right?
Yeah.
I would want to leap through the phone and strangle him. My question is he starts eating the cookies while he's on the phone. He starts going, oh, your wife's cookies are out of this world. Do you think he was doing that on purpose?
Yeah,
100%.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Egging them on.
There's a lot of innuendos in this film that I didn't catch when I was a kid, and I caught it now. I'm watching it with my kids. I'm like, oh my god, there's so many.
So you think he was purposely
It's like, why am I watching this?
does he want Howard to know that he's trying to get with his wife?
Absolutely.
So that's the problem that I find is that it's not clear to us.
Right.
And I think that might have been helped again by just the direction of what it, but
Yeah.
if they told him, eat it as if it's the most delicious thing, and also it's going to make him crazy.
Right.
He did it, but it isn't clear, and I think that's why it frustrates me.
Yeah, because it's not. I mean, either it's a rivalry between the two of you, and that's the crux behind it, or you're trying to get with his wife. In which case, you probably don't want to let him know you're trying to get with his wife.
Because it could have been so funny if the women were fawning over him at the karate championship or whatever.
Yeah.
And he didn't notice. Like that's funny too.
Sure.
But they didn't.
Right. If he had been oblivious, been like, yeah, I'll come fix your sink, right? And you're like, yeah, whatever. Exactly. What were you going to say, Bob?
Has anybody in this room ever been thrust into a rivalry without even knowing it?
No, explain. There seems to be a story here.
No, there's not. I'm just saying, like, it seems like Howard, for some reason in this movie, has been put into this rivalry for like the fight over his wife.
Yes.
He doesn't even realize it.
No, he doesn't. And I'm sorry. I thought you were going to say that it's just something like happened to you.
Make one up real quick. What you got?
But you're right. He had no idea.
Right.
And then it's just like thing after thing starts happening.
Dude, why are you in my house? Why are you putting lights up? What are you doing?
I think she's in the shower, Howard. You want me to go check?
No.
I don't want you to check.
On your way out?
That's right. That's the best. On your way out.
Oh, these cookies. I got to get the recipe from Liz. Put the cookie down. No.
Now, that has become a huge sport. He's pretty good at it, right?
Oh.
So he did this thing, gosh, probably a couple of years ago now, where he was on either Instagram or TikTok or something. He was doing all these one-liners that people would, ask him to do all the time. And so he would do like, I'll be back. And he was going through all of them. One of the ones he did was like, put the cookie down. Now, to Arnold, he thinks that's one of his like most famous lines. He says it all the time when people come up and talk to him and stuff.
Dude, it's my kids love that line.
Yeah.
That is the most rewind scene on this movie that they rewind back.
Your kids just keep, run it back, Dad. Run it back.
Yeah.
Run back.
Maybe in that 1 year, people would just accost him to say that.
Yes.
And everybody else
I think
forgot.
it's a t-shirt.
But he didn't.
No.
I think it might be a t-shirt. I know they have some Turbo Man shirts, but I think that actually might be a t-shirt.
All right, but you guys all think he's purposely antagonizing.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, Ted at this point is being a nuisance, but he hasn't quite made his move yet. That comes later. What happens is Myron rolls up on him after he hangs up the phone, tries to get him to like team up with him, but he kind of shoots him down, says, no, I don't really want to. Yeah. But then the dude runs out. He's like, they just got a late delivery. Let's go. And they go to the Mall of America, right? To this last minute, influx of Turbo Man toys. And I got to say, John Rothman as the manager of the toy store inside the Mall of America was incredible in this movie. He only has the one scene. This is the guy from Ghostbusters. He was the library supervisor.
Oh, yes.
The guy's like, what's that got to do with it? When he asks about her menstruating or whatever in Ghostbusters.
I forgot about that.
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
Yeah, that's him. He's the guy. He's like talking into one of those little toy microphones.
Yes.
That was amazing. That
Right?
was my favorite.
Spitting.
He's spitting. He's so intense. He's just like,
But he's wearing it like a Flavor Flav necklace. Amazing.
you will form an orderly line, and everybody will get a ball. And if you don't get one, we have plenty of his pet booster. And he's like just punching every line. Oh God, he's so good.
I think he's probably the best actor in the movie.
He fully went for it, and I'll spoil it now. He's my Will Patton Award winner for intensity. There's no one more intense in this movie than this guy. Okay, he crushed it, and in line with supply and demand, the list price for every toy just doubled. Right? And he's so intense.
Oh my God.
Like it's the most important thing that he's ever said.
Your hair was beautiful when you did
Well,
it.
and can I just add, there is no way that you can sound that clear on that microphone.
Oh, that was
What's the name of that toy? What's the name of the toy? It's the one from Toy Story.
Something. I forget what it's
Toy
called.
Story, they had one of the dude walked around.
Brady, what was the name of that toy?
Do you know?
The microphone.
In Toy Story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that in one sitting.
The one that Wheezy sings into in Toy Story 2.
Oh, Mr. Microphone.
Mr. Microphone.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna look at it.
Because it's a real product.
It is. It is. Yeah, so he's got like a Mr. Microphone around
to
his
be,
neck.
Brady.
And you do not, when you sound, what do you sound like when you're talking to a Mr. Microphone?
That's pretty much, that's all
Are
I
you
hear.
okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Large orange drink.
Oh, the people with headphones on are going to love us.
Two fries, a sweet tea.
Oda mio.
So why ping pong balls? Why not slips of paper?
Because paper can get ripped.
They wait about 1 second before they just
Sure.
dump the Super Balls all over the
And
place.
then I guess they were gonna have an orderly lottery. I don't know.
Right. But he gets pepper sprayed
Sure.
by Sinbad.
Naturally.
And then
The ball bounces all over the mall.
I've never seen a Super Ball continue to bounce like that. That's
Never.
crazy. And Mall of America, have any of you ever been to Mall of America?
Yes.
I have not.
It's just like one big circle, and there's like 5 floors in the middle. Like, so if once that thing goes over, it's going all the way down, and then you've got to get down there.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
And then he's in the clear elevator. I almost felt like the whole.
Right.
So is this a giant circle and it's just one straight?
One straight drop down the middle where they've got like an amusement park in the middle
Yes.
now,
Okay.
right? Like roller coasters. And they didn't have it then, but now it does. Yeah.
Wow.
So a lot of it doesn't look like it does anymore. Like it was in the movie, but.
Yeah, there was a roller coaster in the back at one point.
Oh, was there?
Yeah.
Now they've got like 5 roller coasters. Like they got a SpongeBob one, and I mean all kinds of stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he's stalking the child. There's a
That's right. And he chases the ball through the Lego store, which they still have this awesome Lego store
Yes.
down there.
Yes.
And yeah, so if you ever get a chance to head out to there, to the Mall of America, just to visit like the place the greatest Christmas movie ever was shot. You know, you can go there just for that and stand there
Thank
and
you for
bask.
saying
and like
that. I appreciate it.
Arnold Schwarzenegger once chased and assaulted a child right here in this very spot.
I'm busy that day.
I don't care what day you pick, but I'm busy that day.
Yeah, so he straight
that
up
was
was what's that, Brady?
Gimbals in I thought that was Gimbals in like Indiana, where the
No.
greatest Christmas movie was filmed.
Where this one was?
You mean
The
a Christmas
greatest
Story,
Christmas
don't you?
movie.
Oh,
There we
the
go.
gimbal. Yes. No, you know what? You're right.
Ho,
I like Wizard of Oz.
ho.
Yeah, I thought it was Nakatomi Plaza where the best movie was
I
filmed.
thought
I
it
think we
was
can all
Gotham.
agree on that one.
I thought it was Gotham.
Yippee-ki-yay.
That's right. Well, that's what I thought when you said ho, ho, ho. I thought of the Die Hard. Remember when he pulls the sweatshirt down? Now I have a machine gun. Ho.
The Venn diagram of ho, ho, ho.
That's right. All right, please. I want somebody put that Venn diagram together so I can see it.
Right.
Oh,
We're going to
my
fill
gosh.
t-shirts.
Ones of them.
That's right. Well, the mothers of America unite and beat the crap out of him with their purses,
Yes.
and now he.
I'm not the pervert.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just trying to get a Turbo Man doll, and he runs into a kind of a sketchy Santa Claus, played
Yes.
by none other than John Belushi.
Jim Belushi. Let's not
Oh my gosh! Thank you.
do that.
Uh,
Do you want to take that again?
let's
and we
take that
can cut
again.
that?
Yes, thank you, Brady.
Yeah.
Then he runs into kind of a sketchy Santa Claus played by none other than Jim Belushi, who he had also starred in a movie with in the 80s, Red Heat. Yes. Yeah. So it was a little bit of a cool reunion there.
Wasn't he in another movie? Weren't they? I think the two of them were in another movie together.
I think he cameoed in Last Action Hero at the end.
That's
the
one I was thinking of. Yeah.
Bob, what did you think of?
Impressive, by the way. Nice work just now.
Oh, we've watched a lot of Arnold movies.
Sounds like it.
What'd you think of John? I just said John again. What'd you think of Jim Belushi in this movie?
I was waiting for the bullets to start flying everywhere.
Really?
I was waiting for Red Heat too.
Well, he's wearing a red outfit.
I thought we literally just walked into the set of Red Heat 2.
Red Heat 2, it's Santa Claus. That's
yes.
oh yeah, nice.
They're trying to stop a smuggling of cocaine and
pre-workout. And action heroes.
They've got good chemistry, you could tell.
They do.
Right?
Go check out Red Heat. It's another great bad movie.
It is pretty like on the list of Arnold movies, it's near the bottom.
Yeah.
If you're gonna rank them.
Yeah.
But it's still good because it's Arnold.
Yeah.
It's like pizza. Even if you have bad pizza, it's still pretty good.
Jim Belushi is really good in Red Heat too. The chemistry, yeah.
And so they're running this. We find this illegal toy smuggling ring
building, whatever they're doing.
I love how they rolled up to the gate and there's literally like a guy dressed as Santa with like a Doberman picture.
Yes. Yeah, this doesn't give any red flags to anybody else.
No, not at all. And
it's like the Santa Claus Mafia.
Yeah, that. Thank you, Brady. That's exactly what it is. It's the Santa Claus Mafia. And the best part of the whole thing to me is when it knocks on the door and the password is Jingle Bells, Batman Smells.
Somebody who wrote that or did it was so proud of themselves.
How are we going to get this in here?
Got to get a Batman reference in here.
It was so good, man. Dude, I remember singing that song. Do you remember the long version of that song?
No.
There's an extended version. Do you know it?
The Batmobile lost a wheel and Joker got away.
Yes, but then there's a whole nother verse.
No. I had no
that idea. I don't know by heart, but there is another verse out there. So somebody seek that out. Email it to us because
the show is trash at gmail.com.
That's right. We're just gonna keep throwing that out there. There's a couple of big cameos you mentioned in the scene as well. So they get into this, they come into the illegal Santa operation. There's toys everywhere. I mean, it looks like a sketchy North Pole. Okay?
Yes, absolutely.
And there's all these Santas.
There's Santas, elves,
all that stuff.
Different size Santas,
My
different
7-year-old
size
looked at me like, what is this supposed to be? And I was like, they just have a lot of stolen toys. They're not who they say they are.
Right. And I do love the line, and I thought this was well delivered by Arnold when he says, I know what you're thinking. And he's like, no, you have no idea. It's crazy. I mean, just to imagine yourself in that scenario. I think you turn around and leave, right?
I don't know. He goes in. If I'm getting that action figure.
Oh, I guess he really that desperate for a Turbo Man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I dropped 300 coin, but
on a Spanish version. Well,
yeah, that's broken.
That's broken.
He didn't even check on the price before he got there either.
Yeah.
That's also true. I do
enjoy the candy cane Kris Kringle, though, that with the nunchucks just come crushing it.
You love a good nunchuck joke.
I do.
You put one in your own movie.
I did. Absolutely. Nunchucks all the way.
We got Vern Troyer shows up in this scene.
Yep.
Right? So we got Mini-Me before he was Mini-Me.
Which I believe the Beach Boys sang about him.
Did they?
Yeah, Little Saint Nick.
Oh, my gosh. I need to take a 5-minute break.
Sorry.
Wah, 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 wah.
You got crickets on that board?
No. That was like a joke grenade. You throw it out there, and then you laugh 5 minutes later. Then Big Show comes out, right?
Mm-hmm. Dick your holes, bub.
That's right. And we get the Big Show out there. And this is where he gets to play Arnold into his persona a little bit, right? I mean, he's literally doing the Conan thing. He's swinging this giant candy cane around just like
beating everybody.
He had a sword. He's even doing some of the same moves he did as Conan. And
he's just beating them off one by one.
He was what?
What? No, he was like attacking each guy.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
All right. So
yeah, no, it was great.
Hey man, target audience, it's all good.
And then he also gets to play into his cop persona too, right? Because the cops bust in.
Yes.
What happens then?
He grabs the fake badge.
That's right.
And he's like, doesn't he use the name Kimball?
Maybe he does.
I
No,
thought
it's Howard Langston.
Oh, he does. He says that's right. He says Howard
Oh, does
Langston.
he still uses his own name.
Undercover.
Undercover.
And he's played cops so many times. It's just like easy for
This
him.
is one of the sloppiest busts I've ever seen. I've been doing
right.
this for 3 years. Yeah.
And you guys bust in here.
Like a bunch of terrorists at a tea party.
Now hurry up and arrest somebody. I mean, it's pretty slick.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Good stuff.
No.
If at any point, I know I'm zooming a little bit. If at any point you guys have something that you want to throw in or add from your notes, Kurt, especially your notes, just stop me, and throw them in there.
Well, the only Batman thing I'd like to reference is we've got Mr. Freeze and Two-Face both in the movie.
Wait.
Ooh.
Explain
Wait a
that.
minute.
How? Well, Arnold was Mr. Freeze.
Correct.
In Batman and
Right.
Robin.
So let's rewind to the
Two-Face
beginning of
was
the movie.
Dementor.
Dementor.
Richard Mole voiced Two-Face for the animated series.
That is I
Bingo.
would never have known that. That's incredible that you guys know that.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
The guy that played
If you notice in
TV
the
version.
in the first few seconds, he
Yes.
goes, Turbo Man. And he does the Two-Face voice within like 5 minutes.
I am going to check
If you
that
want
out.
to go deeper, Richard Mole was also in the Flintstones movie, live action Flintstones movie.
Correct.
On the bowling team.
Yeah, he
Was
was one
he?
of Fred Flintstone's buddies.
So Brian
Him and
Levitt,
Brian Levitt are actually buddies.
buddies, they have to be.
Yeah.
This is the kind of insight you don't get anywhere but Bad Movies Rule.
You're welcome.
Wherever you find your podcast.
That's right. So he gets out of there and he essentially ends up at a bar. He pushes his car that's out of gas
Mickey's Diner. Have
to
some
Mickey's
respect.
Diner. But he's sitting
Have
at
some
the
respect
bar.
for the suit, man.
He's sitting at the bar at Mickey's Diner.
Coffee and pancakes.
Well, and the reason I thought it was in my head a bar because he pours the alcohol out of his flask because Myron shows up. They kind of have a truce for a second and they share a drink together, right? And this to me is the only time in the movie when Sinbad's not yelling.
Yeah.
And he actually plays this scene really well when he tells the story of the Johnny 7 OMA gun. I thought was really great.
Oh, very good.
That's a real toy that existed back in the day. There was a
Really?
huge craze back in the
I
day.
did
Oh, yeah.
not realize that existed back
Yeah, and I believed every word he said when he's talking about
Giant
how bad
beater,
he
giant
wanted.
beater.
Yeah, the
Enemy
whole
sighted.
thing.
Roger there. Open fire.
Right, and he's like, thing looked like a blast. And then, Christmas is just another opportunity for his old man to let him down, right? I mean, that was
Believable.
out of nowhere because
I
the rest
agree.
of the movie, he's just like,
I agree.
"Whoa."
Yeah.
Here's a
Yeah.
question for you. Has there ever been a gift that your kids have asked for that you weren't able to get your hands on?
I don't know if there was a gift. I mean, we're lucky to live in the age of like Amazon, right? And so there might have been something they asked for. I'm like, yeah, I'm not buying that because it's
Well, that's like choice you didn't buy.
super
but I'm saying,
expensive.
you couldn't
but
get
like,
your
I
hands
couldn't
on
get
trying.
no, I don't think that has ever happened to me.
Okay.
I mean, how about for you guys? Let's put yourself in the shoes of Sinbad. What was that gift when you were a kid that you were like, oh man, I really wish I could have got that, but it was just you never got it? Or were your parents awesome?
USS flagship G.I. Joe.
The big aircraft carrier.
Yep. The largest toy known to man.
I remember they had that
5
on.
feet long, and it slides underneath your
Yeah.
bed. That was their whole, and it was a toy box technically.
Yeah.
You would put all your G.I. Joes, your accessories, things like that in there, and it would actually slide in and out of your bed.
Wow.
And then you could assemble it and build it up so it was an actual ship, and you'd land planes on it and everything else.
And so to you, that was
yeah, I just couldn't get it. I mean, it was too huge
Yeah.
to really store anywhere.
Yeah.
And it was, expensive at that point.
Sure.
It was super expensive. Plus, you couldn't find them anyway.
Yeah. And even if you did, like you said, you can draw blood and sell some just to make ends meet.
I never, that I can remember, had an item that I asked for that was like the sought after thing that anyone was fighting over.
Sure.
So I actually can't think of one.
Was there anything
I remember
Go ahead.
I remember getting a Cabbage Patch Kid, and I didn't even want one. So I think somebody somewhere had bought one specifically to give to my parents, to give to me or something like that. But like, they were like, gee, thanks. And you know what I mean?
Some child was crying somewhere else because they didn't get it.
Right.
Sorry, I was listening, but I had to fix my microphone. It was coming off the table, the whole mount. So somebody bought you a random Cabbage Patch, like, oh, he'll love this.
Yeah, it's Christmas. My sister got one and I got one. She was over over the moon. She wanted the couch
They had
fetch
dude ones.
kid.
Yeah, no, they did.
So your
And so
sister
some people
got-
might have loved that.
So your sister got 2 of them then, because I know you gave that right to her.
Yeah, because honestly, I saw it as an opportunity to be like, nope, you can't have this.
There it is.
Well played.
This was mine.
As you should have.
Fine.
I hate it, but it's mine.
Well done, sir.
Yeah.
That's great.
Bob, I'm sorry. Did you say was there a gift that you ever were just like, oh gosh, I got to have this, but it's just never going to happen?
The '89 Batmobile.
Yeah?
That was this big.
Ooh.
Never got that
Oh,
one.
man.
Never got that one, but that's okay. I always
You know,
got
another one of my favorite gifts I was thinking
Well, you
about.
know, there's a Christmas that comes every year, and Mom listens to the show, so you never know. Sorry, what were you going to say, Kurt?
No, I was going to say one of the other gifts that I got, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Knight Rider,
Yeah.
they had an actual car that was voiced by Mr.
Oh,
Feeney.
man.
And you had the whole, you had the whole car had like buttons and everything else. And they had like an action figure of Michael Knight that fit inside of it. And the car doors
That's
open
awesome.
and everything. And I loved it.
That's awesome.
I want a David Hasselhoff for Christmas.
Mom's going to be so angry that I just said now she's got to buy you the 89 Batmobile.
No, you don't have to do
But
that.
even though you're a grown adult man.
was $200.
Right, because you're going to have to find that on eBay or something.
Oh, they're super expensive. So
Yeah.
please, in all seriousness, don't do anything.
Well, I fully expect you to buy it for him, Mom. Sorry.
Welcome back to Jingle All the Way.
Yeah, so he calls his son on the phone, and Ted's got his reindeer out out front for all the neighborhood kids who they've also named Ted.
Yes.
And so what does his son tell him when he
Jamie,
calls?
let me talk to your mother. You can. Why not? She's next door, petting Ted. She's what?
Classic.
My favorite part is how excited you were to say that. Just
It's one of the funniest. Because like
It's
I said,
best.
I think like earlier, there's so
a good
many
setup.
innuendos.
Yeah.
You're just like,
And it's perfectly delivered for all the grief I give Jake Lloyd. Perfectly delivered by Jake Lloyd. She's next door, petting Ted.
She's what?
It's good. Good stuff.
I was fully waiting for, Schwarzenegger to punch that reindeer.
He did
later.
later. You don't remember that?
I don't.
Oh,
Your dream
yeah.
came true and you
I was
didn't even
waiting
know.
for it.
Your dream came true and
Maybe
you
I-
didn't even know.
He uppercut it.
Yeah, maybe I got up for a second or like,
What's the-
I don't know.
We only talk about Arnold movies where he punches animals. That's it.
Camels and
Right.
reindeers.
Camels and
Right.
reindeers.
That's right.
He hammer fisted a camel in
He
the last
macho
movie.
man hammer fisted a camel.
Did you ever see Conan the Destroyer, Nicole?
I have not.
Okay, so Arnold punches 2 animals in the face in that movie, and then punches out this reindeer, which you've seen.
Then rips a horn off a monster.
And then he rips a horn off of another monster. So he just doesn't have a good relationship with animals in general.
No.
But he comes
Must
to
be his aftershave.
Martin Mull is a radio host. I love Martin Mull. The guy that played Colonel Mustard in Clue is probably my favorite role that he ever did. But he's been in tons of
that's
stuff.
Roseanne's boss.
Roseanne's boss, yes.
I remember him.
And he's this DJ that they hear on the radio say, well, for our next caller that can correctly identify the 8 reindeer, we'll give you a Turbo Man doll. And so off he runs. They can't, the phone gets ripped out of the wall or something, right?
Well, no, he goes to the payphone to call.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's got Sinbad's face pinched in the door, and then he's got his hand out like on his forehead. And there's just this moment where Sinbad grabs the receiver and just yanks it right out of the
That's what it is.
and Arnold's like, oh, so now they start racing.
And the second best actor in the entire movie was the bartender at Mickey's Diner. He's like, it's just 2 blocks down on Wabasha.
He was actually.
He was great.
Really good.
It's very believable.
Can we get the
I
trope button on that one?
thought,
Yeah, what's the trope there? Oh, that the random guy knows exactly the info they need?
well, on the radio.
Yes.
I did write down 0 chance they'd both end up at that diner.
Oh, you're talking about the entire city
Sure,
of Minneapolis.
for sure.
How about the fact that he runs into that cop every time too, right?
That's also written down.
Right.
I also wrote very fit white-haired cop because he's like flipping around and he hurt himself and he's like,
did.
I'm back up. Let's do this.
He backs into, we skipped over this, but he backed into the guy's bike. At this point, he's already run into him twice, right? What were you saying?
It was just answering Nicole's question why he's so awesome. being
Yeah, why is he so awesome?
spray tan.
It's got to be the spray tan
Spray
Oh,
tan.
you got a new joke. Congratulations,
and the pre-workout.
Bob.
Yeah.
Pre-workout and spray tan.
So he beats him in a foot race to the radio station, and then the guy he gives them the answer. They think the doll's there. It's not. But what Sinbad does is he pulls out a box out of his mailbag and says,
"This, Mr. Trackstar, is a homemade explosive device."
Right, but it's not. It's like a music box or something, right? Yeah. But he's using the idea
that should be broken the way he's been running.
Yes, it should be. But then when the cops get called and show up, he pulls out another box, and they get away. They all run away, but the thing actually explodes.
Yeah, it actually was a bomb. Right.
Loud enough to hear from way downstairs, but didn't kill anyone.
No, it was like the Wile E. Coyote explosion, right? His hair's blink, blink, blink. His hair's standing up black.
And fall.
It was like a total cartoon explosion.
Yeah, everything but his white hair.
The guy that was standing right next to him looks perfectly fine.
Yep.
How many years in the bomb squad? Not a spot on that man. But the ceiling is collapsed. He looks like Wile E. Coyote, and a bomb just went off. This is the only trouble I have with some movie, like from a tone standpoint. Like that was like, so there's the bombs have cartoon explosions.
Yeah. What are you going to, like what movie are you making?
Exactly. There's a point where he pulls Santa's beard back, snaps it back, and he literally does 4 over-end flips, right? Like a cartoon.
I thought he punched him with
No, he literally just pulled it back, snapped it back, and Jim Belushi does
either
head over foot, like physically impossible.
And I think maybe that's why I don't feel that the child actor did too poorly, because I've just what's he already in? Like,
what it's in.
He's doing
that's fair.
what they said.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But needless to say, they get away from the police. He goes home and sees Ted putting the star on his tree. Ted is still inside of his house.
That's it.
And that's the last straw for him, right?
Where was the rocket launcher? Just blast.
Well, we know what you would have done in that scenario. Thank goodness you don't own a rocket launcher. Not that Ted's over at your house hanging up, your Christmas tree or anything like that. But if Phil Hartman is, call the news, because that would be really impressive, seeing how he's no longer with us. He goes into Ted's house to steal the toy out from under his son's tree. Now, thank goodness, because that's a real skeezy move, that he has that moment, right? Because otherwise, I think that might be like a point of no return for this character from a likability standpoint. And he's going to put it back, but he gets attacked by a reindeer and starts a fire.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
You block it out, didn't you?
All right. He remembers watching this movie.
Yeah, I'm thinking I hated that part so much that it was just like, oh, you're going to lower yourself to the level of this guy.
This is the part of the movie that I always want to fast forward through, because it's so uncomfortable to me when his wife sees him through the window. And he's holding this other kid's toy. I'm like, I want to crawl under my couch.
What do you tell your wife?
You just have to tell her I was going to steal this because I didn't buy one for myself. What else are you going to say?
Well,
I was going to the bingo parlor, and the directions got all fouled up. And
Here I am.
I mean, she knew at that point. But I do love the setup gag where he accidentally tips over one of the wise men.
Oh, gosh.
The head goes rolling into the fire, and he's trying to
Phil
put it
Hartman,
and he
says,
drop kicks it through the window,
Balthazar.
Balthazar.
That's one of the best lines in the movie. He knew that was Balthazar.
Again, that's why I just loved
That's
it.
good
I was
stuff.
like, that's great. And it freaks out all the kids. Or the carolers.
He punches and knocks out the reindeer. And because he's so fed up at that point, his wife already knows. He says, you picked the wrong day, and just cold cocks him. Nobody punches an animal like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Perfect form. And this brings us to essentially the climax of the movie is the parade, right?
To which Ted drives with a hole in his house and fire damage.
No one calls 911.
Hey, we got to get to this parade. So
sure, the reindeer's just doing great.
Well, it was drinking beer. It's all right.
He left the reindeer unattended. He left a hole through his window.
Yep.
Pooping on his carpet.
Right. That's a great point that I never thought of. And I've seen this movie 20
got the deer
times.
drunk.
Please come back every episode. This is the holiday wintertainment parade. Okay. Nicole, what did you think about Gale Force and Liza Tish?
First of all, fantastic naming of Gale Force. I mean, they were definitely like filling in each other's sentences in a way that I was like, they knew they were going to.
Yes.
So that was a little.
Do you ever watch the Macy's parade at Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
I thought that was pitch perfect to how these people
They played it well.
they played it well, and the synchronized paper tap.
Yeah.
Oh, it's one of my favorite parts of the entire movie. Let's listen. What was it? Let's look and listen. So perfect.
Yep.
This parade's got a little bit of everything. Kurt, who'd you see in there? There was Sonic the Hedgehog was in there.
There was Gumby.
Gumby.
There was some
there.
Cabbage Patch Kids.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were in there.
Yep. There was. Oh, you already said Sonic.
Yep, Sonic.
So did they recycle the parade? Because they didn't need that many.
Snoopy was in there.
I don't know. Snoopy, Raggedy Ann.
And a
Yep.
pack of crayons.
Yeah.
And-
Oh yeah.
But I love the one that up to all these people, the one the kids high-fived it was when they saw Cat in the Hat, right? They're like, Cat in the Hat. And then they high-fived.
Well, I think they high five because they got him to like look at him.
Oh, I guess.
I think it was like, hey, Cat in the Hat, and then he looked and they're like wave, and he's like, yeah, you got him to say hi.
All right. I
That's
thought it
how
was
I
just
took
like,
it.
Cat in the Hat. Yes.
I mean, take it as the way you want, but
All right. So Ted is in the van now with Rita. And he shoots his
also
shot.
another awkward, very
Yes, super
crawl
awkward.
under the couch moment.
He's going for it now.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
He's in his mind, he's laid the groundwork, although he really has not. And this is the moment to go for it, right? Because maybe in his mind, he just what she just caught Howard doing maybe would be the thing to seal the deal. Okay. And he goes, and I love that his go-to line is he's like, it all started for me at the barbecue when you asked me, how do I marinate ahi tuna?
And I told you, Italian dressing.
That's right. Like, this is his move.
Yep.
Like,
I've used it twice in my life as well.
like she's going to hear this and go, oh, yeah, I remember
I
that.
hadn't thought of it that way. But now that you say it, it was the oregano for me.
Exactly. So
Yes,
to the surprise of
sweet
no
oregano.
one, right? To the surprise of no one, when he goes for it, she clocks him with the eggnog.
Yeah,
Right.
the thermos.
How can he not read any signals? He literally says, there's lots of girls that would be very excited to be where you are. She's like, I'm a lucky.
Well, she didn't
Lucky
say
girl.
that, though. Maybe he was like,
But she was so sarcastic.
I know. Maybe he didn't.
Maybe he just can't figure it out.
Should we
Lizzie.
say for a second that they just let two kids out and she stayed in the car? She should just get out. Of course, the scene can't happen.
The
Blah,
scene
blah,
can't
blah,
happen
blah,
if the
blah.
kids are there.
No.
But I agree. Although this was the 90s, they just kind of let the kids out
Yeah.
and say,
No
good
cell phones
luck.
will find you eventually.
That's how it was, though.
But don't get run over by
Did your parents just let you go without a
probably
phone?
not at a giant parade.
No? Okay. I mean, for the most part, ours, we would just leave the house and it'd be like, when you come back is when they would find out that you're still alive.
Yeah. And you better be hungry.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
when the lights came on
Yeah.
the side.
There was, every day, especially in the summertime, we'd be like, well, see you in 9 hours.
Yeah, gone.
Yeah.
I'm out.
That was it. So we get this, and I thought the setup of this was actually pretty clever, right? He's getting chased by the cop again, spills coffee all over him, and he ends up going into a back room
Oh yeah, smashes into the bus.
and unwittingly gets changed into Turbo Man, right?
Yeah.
Which we can argue from a plausibility standpoint. I mean, don't pull at any string that's hanging off this movie, okay? Because it's all going to
Fall down.
But I thought it was clever, and I liked the guy's little speech about, the guy that, it's a freak accident what happened to the guy in rehearsal. So, he's really showing
Thanks for
some
filling in. I really appreciate it. Yeah,
he's showing some brain activity this morning. That's a really good sign.
and he just smiles at him.
But all he had to say was, I'm not an actor.
That's right. He literally says anything and it's over.
And then but also, and that was not the impression that anyone would want to have in their movie. I will not be hired.
I thought you crushed it.
Nicole Schwarzenegger.
He comes out as Turbo Man, and here comes
Raise him up out of the floor. Yeah, out of the
him out of the floor, and
Quick
then
pause. The suit fit him.
perfectly.
Let's just, okay. Let's suspend that disbelief. Go ahead.
So the guy that filled in for him had the exact proportions of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Naturally.
Did it though?
Because there was a lot of
that
people.
helmet looked like his mega head barely fit in there. A visor barely came over his face.
The Turbo, I actually love the guitar solo when Turbo Man's coming out. And there's that one dude in the band that's just like shredding. I'm like, this is pretty awesome. But
Well, and let's introduce Booger in that at that point.
yes,
too.
right.
Yeah.
Um,
He comes out and he says, You know they cut that line out in a lot of times now when they show it on TV.
No, why?
I've been sweating like a dog in a Chinese restaurant waiting for you, and they cut it out most times now when it airs. I don't know what's wrong with that line, but it's not nice to say that people eat dog in certain parts of the world. I don't know. It's true.
Yeah.
Have you ever had dog?
I have not.
Well,
I've had horse though.
my sister has had dog.
It was served to me, by the way.
That doesn't surprise me.
Well, she served in Korea.
Oh.
Like, it's not like she went to like Applebee's in,
She worked at an Applebee's in Korea?
She traveled all the way to Applebee's in Korea for
Rachel
dog.
quit a Burger King within 2 minutes.
She did.
And yeah,
She did.
on her first day.
Let's embarrass her on our podcast. No.
Oh, let's do it. Let's talk about Rachel.
If we weren't so far down on the timeline already, I would say let's go for it.
Embarrassing moment.
The funny thing is he now has the doll come straight up to him, and now it's like he's so excited. He's lifting the air, he's screaming like
what,
the
James?
whole day. The doll.
Okay, cool.
I'm only using their terminology that they use.
You're the lexicon of the movie. I got you.
And but Myron has also dressed up as Dementor.
Yes.
And is now going to jump on the float, and they're going to fight as Turbo Man and Dementor.
Yes.
I love it. It's stupid, but I love that there's a whole movie about regular people running around town ends in like a superhero
Good
fight,
thing
right?
he could figure out how to do a zip line. Like set it up himself, and that was handy.
I said we can't pull on the threads.
I prefixed this already.
Postman.
Every thread we pull on will unravel this entire thing.
Nothing.
Be a huge pothole.
It will. He gives one of them. So the kid he calls Jamie up and he gives him the doll and he starts running off.
I
on
wrote
his
down
own.
the words, so very much footage of him waving in the costume on the float. Like
They had all the footage.
minutes, just so happy.
The editor in the editing bay was like, "Let it run,
Keep it
let it run."
gold.
The kid runs and Myron chases him and gives my favorite line in the entire movie, which, "Out of my way, box!" You put it on there.
I wrote it down. Get out of the way, box.
I love that everything.
Douche.
I love that all the other like utensils and everything come up over. Like, oh, are you okay?
Fantastic.
They're like the 4 box. Oh,
That box.
My fantasy was that it was an accident, and that's just what he said.
In your headcanon, that's we're gonna go with your headcanon there, Brady. That's exactly what happened.
Great.
I would say
love
the
that.
offshoot, just a movie about the box.
I want to know more about. I want to get in the weeds on the box too. I want to know who that is. Right?
Yeah, he definitely has PTSD
Humble
now.
beginnings.
It's just something funny about a box with little legs getting knocked over. Out of my way, box! Boom! Oh, it's always been my favorite part. Will always be my favorite part. In the interest of time, unless you guys have some really compelling thoughts you want to share about this battle between Turbo Man and Myron, Turbo Man wins and Myron is defeated, essentially, right? Brady?
It's dumb. The whole thing, it's dumb. Let's not pull on the threads, right? We're to move on.
In short, then, I want to at least hear why do you think it's so dumb?
We have a fully functioning jetpack that works super great. Like he goes flying like 7 miles up or something.
This is true.
Just for this bit, like for a parade.
Yes. I thought
It's not a miracle of modern science or anything.
I thought that from a directing and a filmmaking standpoint, I thought the flying shots were actually really well done. There's a couple of shots where they're using a helicopter. I mean, they didn't have drones at the time, and he's flying through the city, and it's like impressive from a filmmaking standpoint. I know, like plot wise, it's ridiculous, but I was
$10 million right there.
Yeah, I was impressed with the sequence from a filmmaking standpoint. Did you like the final fight?
Yeah, of course I did.
I know, but I want to know why. I like it too because it's so dumb. So like I think Brady and I agree, but he doesn't like it and I do, but we both think it's dumb. Like I'm just trying to get your,
It's extremely dumb.
I think he went headfirst into a building and his whole body vibrated, but his neck was fine.
His neck was
right.
Good to go.
He stopped it with
Very
his
cartoon.
Full speed into a brick wall.
Yeah, he blasted through someone's Christmas party. Christmas Eve dinner.
Yeah, why are they having dinner right now when the parade is literally out the window?
I really feel like the movie still would have worked without all the fluff with that.
Yeah.
If you just had a rocket pack that took you to save your son.
Right. And not all the...
That's a little bit more believable. But the spinning,
the
running into the wall, breaking through windows, ruining a nice family's dinner. I mean, it was just, okay.
Brian said they gave me $10 million to shoot this sequence, and I'm using every penny.
I'm using it all.
We're doing it. Let's go. Yeah, here's my question as far as a plot hole goes. Why do the cops arrest Myron? As far as everybody knows, it's a show, right?
Right.
It's a show. Everyone says, even the cop tells the mom, oh, it's, your son's doing great.
Said, no, he's not.
Right, to that one cop.
But maybe he talked.
And immediately after that, he falls into the parade float, and every police officer is pointing a gun in his face, right?
Touche.
That, to me, that didn't make any sense. Like, if everyone assumes this is an act, why are we arresting Myron?
Well, but he tied up the guy and stole his suit.
Right, but they wouldn't have known that yet, right?
Well, maybe by that point we could assume that the guy
He's
got
up on the roof
and was like, that dude stole my suit.
I guess they just didn't do the required work, at least for me.
Well, they could have added that in and took out Arnold flying around like a crazy pancake. And just
pancake. I just have a total different mental image now of this crazy, insane pancake.
You could sell that.
I could.
Write it up.
Dad, you smell like barf.
Yeah, was it because is
rotten
that what
eggnog? I'm guessing.
Okay.
Was it?
I don't know if in the sadness he just.
Do you like eggnog?
No, I mean it's fine.
I guess it could kind of smell like barf. I guess if it's hot eggnog, they were shooting in April.
It was hot because he had it in a thermos.
He had it in a thermos. It was hot eggnog. There you go.
All right.
So that's essentially the movie gets wrapped up. The kid takes the action figure and gives it to Myron and says,
Hey,
I got the regular.
thanks.
Yeah, right.
My kid's going to love this.
And he's got the regular Turbo Man at home. So he doesn't need the doll, right? It's a nice ending to it. Did you guys know there's a post-credit scene?
Yes.
Like Marvel style on this movie?
What?
Yes.
So me and you, yes, there is. At the very end, they're, trimming the tree or whatever, or it's the next day,
they
and
put
they're
the
all
star
just kinda
up
putting
and,
the star up. And she says, it's really impressive what you went through for your son. It just makes me wonder, what did you get for me? This is the wife. And it does the zoom in on his face again.
He's
and
like,
then
whoa.
It cuts.
Oh, great.
They left it for a sequel.
They were going to do a sequel of him rushing out to find a gift for his wife. And it never happened.
Yeah, no.
No, it happened, but it's with Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah, but that was also about getting a thing for his daughter, though. Not
Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess it's at this point, guys, we just have to ask the question, and then we'll do some awards. Is Turbo Man a bad movie? Is it a bad movie that rules, or is it just straight up with no qualifiers a good movie?
I think Turbo Man as a movie would have been great, but Jingle All the Way is.
Did I say Turbo Man?
You did.
You did.
All right.
Wonderful.
Jingle all the way. Email the show at thisshowIstrash@gmail.com. I've said over and over again, this is the worst movie podcast of all time.
That's all right.
Okay.
We're enjoying it.
That's fine.
I thought it was fun. I was going to keep going with it.
All right. But what do you think?
It's entertaining as a Christmas movie as long as you go into it knowing that it's just
So would you say it's a bad movie that rules? Or a bad
Barely.
movie? Barely.
only barely.
Okay.
As an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie,
Yeah.
it's further up on the list than my Christmas list.
Okay. All right. Bob?
It's bad movies that rule.
Bad movies that rule.
Oh, it's just bad.
It's just straight up bad.
Regular vanilla bad. Sinbad.
Brady?
I'd say it's genuinely bad.
Genuinely bad. All
How
right.
do you feel?
I am going to say that this is just straight up a good movie. It's just straight up, no qualifiers. And the look that I'm getting right now from Nicole, she's like, really? You're going to go with this?
You're crazy.
I love it. I love this movie. I acknowledge all of its flaws.
Good. I give you that.
I know that it's ridiculous and stupid.
It is.
Enjoy it.
But that's the point.
But I just think it's great.
Well, that's where I go as far as a Christmas movie. I mean, how many Christmas movies have you seen where they're just you have to have some level of unbelievability?
This is what so I said this at the beginning. I fully acknowledge that my opinion counts for almost nothing when we're talking about an Arnold movie because I love it before I've even seen it. So that's how much of a fan I am. So I will acknowledge that this is not an opinion that can be trusted.
Imagine this movie with Paul Rudd.
Yeah, I would probably never have seen it again.
That would be a pretty funny movie, though.
And I love Paul Rudd. I love Paul Rudd.
I would see it.
But
Paul Rudd, remake Jingle all the way.
We got to give this movie some awards. And we always start with our Will Patton Award for intensity.
Phil Hartman.
And I already gave my award to John Rothman. I don't think anybody was more emotionally invested in their part than the manager at the toy store at Mall of America. But I want to hear from you guys. Nicole, who is your Will Patton Award winner?
You've convinced me. It is him.
John Rothman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he was into it. He did his thing.
2 votes. Bob?
Phil Hartman.
Phil Hartman as Ted.
Absolutely.
I will tell you this. I believed every word he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went the same route.
Phil it's a tie, Brady. It's a tie.
I knew coming into this whole thing that I was going to pick Phil Hartman. So I'm going to stick with it.
Yes.
But for intensity, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I was talking. Yeah, but that's fine. That's fine. We'll give it to them. Honorable mention.
He's the best part of the movie.
John Rothman, but we give the Will Patton Award to Phil Hartman. Now we have to give out our not as glamorous award, the Trash Can Full of Dirt Award, to the actor whose part could have basically been played by a trash can full of dirt.
Jake Lloyd.
In this movie. Jake Lloyd immediately says Jake Lloyd. Can you imagine him having a heart-to-heart with a trash can full of dirt? There would have been as much chemistry. Right?
Not to knock Jake Lloyd, but he's probably the worst child actor of all time.
Wow.
Not to knock him.
And let me just lay that out
you
there.
are the worst child actor of all time.
No offense.
No offense.
Nothing personal.
I feel like there's high expectations in this decade and further than there were back then, though.
Oh, 100%.
They probably were just like, come on out, do it. Great job.
Child actors have taken
Well, that's why I went
steps.
with the whole Jonathan Taylor Thomas wasn't available.
Yeah.
Because he was like in everything.
Who would you give your trash can full
I'm
of dirt?
following Bob right again on this
Jake
one.
Lloyd.
Oh, yeah. I don't
know what we're gonna do,
liked
Nicole.
high-fiving that trash can full of dirt.
Nicole, it's up to you.
I
Like,
just
what's
feel
up,
so
cat in the
bad
hat?
for him now. It doesn't.
What? No, he's a great dude.
No.
He just sucks.
Oh, great.
That's the line. He's a great dude, but he just sucks.
All right, Brady, who would you give your trash can full of dirt award to?
Again, I walked in knowing that it was going to Jake Lloyd.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh, you guys.
Jake Lloyd,
Horrible.
if you ever come across
If you
this
ever listen to this podcast,
Please email the show at this
he's
show.
going to kick your ass before Van Damme does.
All right, Nicole.
I mean, I'm sure he's a great dude.
Yes,
like,
I'm
I'll
sure
sit
he's a
down and have a
wonderful
beer
dude.
with him, right?
Yes.
Just a shitty actor. Sorry, crappy actor.
Thank you.
As a child.
Nicole?
You have no idea now.
I'll just say the reindeer.
What? You're going to break this perfect streak?
No, we know the reindeer wasn't a great actor. I didn't believe that was a real reindeer at all.
It was a...
Well, he was fighting pretty hard outdoors.
He was.
Wasn't it like two little people in a suit?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't know.
For my trash can full of dirt, oh geez, I was gonna give it to the secretary in the mattress store that just held up the little.
He's not going to make it.
She did have one line. He's not gonna make it.
It
She
was perfectly delivered.
no, it wasn't.
It's
Yeah.
perfectly
A
delivered.
trash can full of dirt could have given that performance.
Perfectly delivered.
Sorry,
Sometimes
secretary.
it's the
lady.
writing, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Writing and direction.
All right,
Or the
guys.
director.
We got to do this quick. So, top 3 performers. Let's rattle them off. Brady, you want to start with your top 3?
Arnold's got to be in there somewhere, right? I mean,
There is a spot
But
reserved
does
for
he?
him.
yeah, I think it's number 1, really. We got to put him there. I'm going to go Sinbad number 2 just because I enjoy Sinbad. I would put him at number 1, but, Arnold's in most of the movie and
Yes.
he's in a lot less. Number 3 is hard. Like, where am I going to go? We already gave Phil Hartman the.
Well, you can still put him in your top 3.
Award. I think I will, just because he's just. This is one of his better movies. Unfortunately,
yes.
He had a shortened career because of a different kind of Christmas gift, but yeah.
Was that on Christmas?
Yeah. Too soon? Was that too soon?
No.
It was
no.
Was it on Christmas?
Gift. I don't know if it was Christmas. It was a gift.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Kurt, who's your top 3?
My bad.
I'm going the same route, but I'm flipping it. So Arnold's at 3. I enjoyed Sinbad more than Arnold, and I'm putting Phil Hartman at number 1.
Imagine putting Sinbad ahead of Arnold Schwarzenegger at literally anything.
It happened today.
Stand-up comedy,
the exact same thing.
all day.
That's true. No, that's true. Can you imagine Arnold doing a stand-up set? Take my wife. Take her now. Do it.
But the mere fact that Sinbad had improv lines,
yes,
and pulled it off, and they built,
oh, that's true,
a role around that.
What you got, Bob?
Number 1, Robert Conrad,
the white-haired cop,
the white-haired spray tan cop.
Okay, who's number 2?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay,
3 is Sinbad.
3 is Sinbad. I respect that.
They were the 3 most entertaining characters.
I agree with you.
So as far as like doing your job well that you were given,
yes,
I think
who you thought gave the best performances
Phil Hartman
in the movie. That's number 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then my number 2 will be just, even though the performance wasn't one that stands out, I think Rita Wilson did what she was supposed to do.
Fair enough.
So
no one could fault
way,
her,
right?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
No one goes, oh, that was the worst. The chemistry wasn't there, but you don't know why.
Right.
Boy, the reindeer.
That's it. That's it. You're down to an animatronic after those first 2.
Sinbad's not on your list?
So he did well.
It's like Phil Hartman, Rita Wilson, and a robot.
Because again, if Sinbad had navigated better, like what his relationship was. I don't know whose job it was.
You're right.
What was the relationship? Were they fighting? Were they friends? And yes, that can be a complicated relationship, but that's not what it became.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, there was the part where Arnold said, "I know I've been neglecting you, but no more." That was beautiful.
I love you both.
But no more.
It's poetic.
Like 7 U's and then an AH.
That's right. Well, all right.
Look, Jamie's dad is Turbo Man. Let's get out of
here. My top 3. It's if you think for literally a second I'm not putting Arnold Schwarzenegger at number 1, you are wrong. Arnold Schwarzenegger, number 1, top performance. There were scenes in this movie where he was the worst actor in the film. Okay. But like I said, I think there's more winning. He's doing more winning in this than losing. There's a couple scenes that really stand out as bad that maybe color the whole thing to me personally as a negative. I think he does a lot of great work at this point in his career. I mean, he could not have done this 10 years earlier in the 80s. There's no way. Beyond that, Phil Hartman, honestly, number 2 easily. And then for number 3,
Sinbad.
No, yeah, no, I'll give it to Sinbad. He was funny, if he was improvising and writing a lot of his own stuff, that's worthy of inclusion. And just the strength of that one scene he had at Mickey's Diner, I thought was legitimately a good performance.
The Mickey's Diner guy gets my 3rd spot.
Oh, there you go.
That's for sure who
okay.
it is.
I did believe that there was a Wabasha.
Oh, Wabasha.
Yeah. Well, guys, look, I appreciate everybody joining us. I think it's hilarious that one of our longest episodes we've ever done is on Jingle All the Way.
Hold on.
Yes.
Let's make it longer.
What?
If you were going to remake this movie, who would you remake it with?
Arnold Schwarzenegger. No. Here's what you do. It's like when they remade Vacation, right? And they went Rusty was the main character, but Chevy Chase was still in there.
So shifted Jake Lloyd.
So Jake Lloyd's character is now grown up and the one searching for a gift.
Reboot / sequel. Who would you pick to play Jamie, old Jamie?
Old Jamie. It'd have to be somebody that could act horribly.
John Cena.
Well, if he's Arnold's kid,
he would be bigger than Arnold.
We get John Cena in there as Jamie.
I don't know. I can't see it.
I can't see it either.
Can't see him.
That's true.
Can't see him, man. Sorry.
Chris Pratt in that
thank
movie.
you for joining us, everybody.
Wait,
and
hold
again,
on, wait. He said Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I like Chris Pratt.
I just want to end this episode. We're already at an hour and 50 minutes.
We're good.
Nick, no.
An hour and 50 minutes.
We got to hit 2 hours.
We can't
Longer
hit
than
2
the
hours.
movie.
Yes, we do.
We can't.
Yes, we do. We owe the people 2 hours.
Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate you guys all listening. Do me a favor, whatever podcast app, whatever program that you use, whatever service that you found us on, if you're, let me start over. Thank you guys all for listening. We really appreciate it. Whatever provider you caught us on, whether it's Spotify, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, wherever, will you share us with a friend? Take the link, shoot it to a friend of yours in an email, Facebook, whatever. The best way for our podcast to grow, and it has been growing, we really appreciate all of you, is to just word of mouth, right? That's the way that people
Absolutely.
are more often going to hear from a friend and go, hey, I really love this podcast. I've been listening to it. It's awesome. You're far more likely to listen to it than if you just randomly were looking up movie podcasts, right? So tell a friend. If you're an hour and 50 minutes deep on Jingle All the Way, you're already a diehard fan of this show. There's no way you're here at this point of the episode if you're not. So we appreciate you guys greatly. And next week, we are going to be doing another all-time Christmas classic. You got something to add?
Yes, there was an extended cut of this film. I'm not joking.
What, you're waiting until the outro to tell me there's an extended cut of Jingle All the Way?
I got this information from Ryan Farrell. He bought a DVD of Jingle All the Way, and it has the extended cut.
3 hours later.
No, it's like an extra 10 minutes of the
I can't believe you're bringing this up right now.
I'm sorry. I literally just thought of it. I
I mean, I want to see it. Okay. But I don't want to talk about it right now.
Why?
This show is trash at gmail.com.
Right.
Okay. I don't know if you guys are aware of this as far as next week goes, but about 30 years ago, Christmas as we know it almost ended. Okay. The very fact that we sit here today on the precipice of yet another holiday season is thanks to one man, one hero. Next week, we will be talking about the time that Ernest saved Christmas. He is a legend that no one talks about. We're going to give him the love that he's due. You know what I mean, Vern?
Jim Varney.
Let's go. See you guys next week for Ernest Saves Christmas.
Bye.
Thank you.
I do have one question for you, though.
What?
Does Arnold Schwarzenegger make this movie better?
No.
Did make this movie better?